Hi everyone, how are we all doing? I am coming to you from a place of I've been a working girl this week. Ooh. And I had a lovely couple of days with my sister and brother-in-law. So I feel very zen, I feel very calm. And I actually know what I want to speak to you guys about this week, which sometimes I just kind of wind it up and watch it go. And some of you have very kindly shared your stories with me, which I want to get into. But I don't know if you've seen my Instagram, but basically, I've been asking people to tell me their most unhinged stories of things that they've done to either get a guy's attention or while they're in a relationship or trying to impress a guy or keep a guy or whatever it is. And some of you brave souls have entrusted me with those stories. And the reason I wanted to talk about unhinged things I did as a single gal, maybe not even single, but as a pre-married gal, should I say, is I've actually been a bit of a witchy poo to Alan sort of Sunday, Monday. I think it was a combination of my sister went home, so I always feel a bit low when visitors leave, and he's obviously the closest one to me, so obviously you take things out of the people that you love. And he basically said that I was unhinged, and I was like, you don't even know, like, you met me. I mean, he did meet me when I was a bit of a like outdoor cat, quite feral, and then he kind of got a little saucer of milk and coaxed me into the house and made me the house cat that I am today. But I very much was out there on the streets, hustling. And so I was explaining to him like some of the unhinged things I did. And it got me thinking that you may be in the situation where you're dating or you have kind of those relationships at the moment. You might have done something at the weekend that you're not super proud of. And I just felt like this might make you feel better because I'm not going to lie, it didn't even take me that long to think about off the top of my head some very fucking unhinged things I did. And like I say, some of you have kindly donated yours. Ooh, sorry. Lorry outside, I thought was coming into the house. That would be unhinged. And yeah, so that's what I thought we would do. I'm going to, as always, as per the request, I don't think that's a word. I'm going to open something to drink while we go through this together. Now, I'm actually drinking alcohol-free Freixenet. Couple of reasons. Those Savanos finished me off last week, even though they were sensational. They were stunning. Obviously, I'm working, so I want to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed tomorrow because I have to be public-facing. And I thought if I'm going into the depths of my mentalness, especially around the time when I was single and probably at my most feral, I don't think I also want drunk anxiety to go with the stories. So here we are. Cheers. Also, this Freixenet is lovely. I had to check it a couple of times over the weekend. I was drinking it this weekend. I had to check it a couple of times to make sure it was the alcohol-free one because it is absolutely divine. Oh, it is good. Oh, it is good. So let's just delve in, shall we? I want to say, for the record, when I talk about exes, so if I say an ex, essentially what I mean is anyone from the male species who's ever really sent me a few texts or signaled that they like me or been on a few dates with me. This isn't relationships. I basically very much felt like if I had gone on like one or two dates, especially, that I was probably boyfriend and girlfriend with that. Harping back to my poddy from last week of people sort of loving hard and going in 100, that was very much my energy. And especially for the last couple of years I was single, I would say I was very much looking for love, blinkers on, and very much tried fitting square pegs into round holes. Oh, that's a bit of a euphemism, but kind of works. And so when I say ex, I basically mean that, which means there are men in this world who don't even realize they're my ex. Isn't that funny? So I thought I'd kick off with some, I think, standard ones that you guys have also thrown my way. So I think this is kind of universal. So let's go back to the MSN Messenger days. There were when you'd log out and log back in again when your crush comes on. Putting music lyrics. I had for ages as my MSN name Tell Him, which was the Lauryn Hill song, and that was actually my MySpace one. And somebody else, actually, I'm just going to get it off my Insta because it's quite funny. Somebody else messaged basically saying, oh, that was it. Accidentally texting the guy that you are interested in, being like, thanks so much for tonight, it's great, let's do it again sometime. And obviously, you know, it's not, but you just kind of get the old juices flowing in terms of them texting you back. It took me, I also should say, it took me a very, very long time. I know a lot of the narrative now is if he could, he would. And the old saying, he's just not that into you. It took me far, far too long to realise that. And you'll find out in these. So someone's literally just messaged me actually saying, to this day, I still quote your dating theory of running at the pigeons. That if you keep going, eventually you'll catch the right one. True wisdom and still hilarious. So for those of you that don't know, who I haven't bored with this theory, I have this thing called the pigeon theory. And my approach to dating was like a child who gets to Trafalgar Square for the very first time and discovers the pigeons, and they run at them all, and most of them fly away, and the ones that remain are brave or disabled or unable to fly away against their will. And that was very much my dating pool and my approach to dating. I just sort of go full steam ahead, and that is what I was left with. Now, it's up to you to decide which one Alan is. I personally think he's brave, but that's that. I had someone else come through. Oh, this was it. The posting quotes. So this is more sort of Instagram, Facebook kind of vibe, but I'm going to read you some of the ones I posted when trying to let a guy know that he'd hurt me. Where are you? I'm just scrolling through my Instagram and it's literally all beyond. So this is very much what we're going for. And then we're going to build up into the real whack job ones, which this is a safe space and it is a judgment-free zone, but fair warning, there has been some real doozies on my part. I'm not judging anyone who has submitted theirs. Oh, bloody hell. Come on. Okay, we're scrolling back. Alan's disappeared from the feed, which leads me to believe I'm now in my single era. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's not it. That's another very fucking depressing one. Okay, we're nearly there. Why does technology not work? Okay, so we're in the sort of beginning era of me and Al. Okay. This is a screenshot. If it doesn't break your heart, it isn't love. And my comment was, if this is true, then that is long. What happened to good old-fashioned non-heartbreaking love? And then there was another one, which I even remember when I think I've just liked my own post. When I posted, it was like, come on, Katie, get it together. Oh, where was it? It was something about, oh, here we go. A girl once told me to be careful when trying to fix a broken person, for you may cut yourself on their shattered pieces. I mean, I actually do think that's kind of true. It's a little bit the opposite of you can't pour from an empty cup. So I kind of stand by that. But yeah, I also got quite heavy into posting song lyrics on my Facebook, which makes me die. I think I posted a Fall Out Boy quote from, I think it's Bang the Doldrums of, I cast a spell over the ways to make me think of you. Ugh. So that is just kind of nuts and bolts, belts and braces. I also was speaking to a friend of mine who I actually think she features in every single podcast so far. My friend Bo, who we have worked together in television for a very, very long time. And we used to work on a dating show. where we had to cast single girls and single guys. And back in the olden days, kids, we used to actually go out and street cast. So you go out to where you think these single people were. So if you wanted, I don't know, to find farmers, you would go to a country show or a farmer's market or whatever. And we wanted to cast single men for the show that we were working on. So we went to the City, which, for those of you that don't know, the City in London on a Thursday night is full of crumpet, like absolutely wall to wall crumpet, and it's mostly all men. So we were like, we'll go there, we'll essentially cast the series, and whatever's left over we'll take for ourselves. And she reminded me, actually, we used to take them on these nights out. To be fair, actually, when we were casting, that's what we were doing, right? We were casting them, but we realized that it got you a lot of attention. So we would take them out on nights out with us and get chatting to lads. And then if we kind of got a vibe they weren't that interested, we'd be like, oh no, we're only talking to you because we're working on this show. And if we sort of got a feeling that they were a little bit into it, we'd write our phone numbers on it and be like, oh, well, this is my email address, but if it's like easier to text, then this is my number. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would have got us sacked, but it did work. And I actually had a situation where I had gone into the City with my friend. We were actually street casting, but I got chatting to this guy who I was like, beautiful, beautiful man. He would be great on the show, but if he decides not to go on the show, come to mama. And so I said to him, oh, here's my number. Obviously never heard from him again. Fine, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. This was very much in my, what I call summer of love. So if you were a friend or colleague of mine at the time, it was very much jam-packed full of dating, falling in love, falling out of love, falling in love, falling out of love. And anyway, so I was having my summer of love. I went to a house party and I saw this guy, and I never normally do this. Well, obviously I don't do it now because I'm married. But when I was single, I never normally was like, I'm going for that guy. I would just sort of wait until everyone's drunk enough and then go in for the kill. So I was like, I'm going to go and talk to him. He's a beautiful man. And anyway, we got chatting, we exchanged numbers. I think we went to another house party and he was going somewhere. Anyway, we exchanged numbers. And then the next day, as you do, we chitty chat. What do you do? Oh, he was a stockbroker. And I was like, oh, okay, work in the City. He was like, what do you do? I said, oh, I work in TV casting. And he was like, what show? So I told him, and he was like, no way. Somebody gave me their casting card for that. And I was like, who? He was like, they put their name on it and their number. And then when he kept it in his wallet. When he took a photo of it, he was like, that's your number. And I was like, but then I was like, maybe I manifested that because we dated for a little while. And actually, I think eventually how that ended was unhinged on his part, because we were sort of seeing each other. It was very casual. And I was away filming this dating show when it all kind of fell apart, because I was usually very good on comms, but when you're away filming, obviously you can't really talk. And he was out doing a stockbroker night out. So obviously off the chain, probably doing God knows what. And at like 2 a.m, he messaged me. I think actually, yeah, it must have been about 2 a.m, because I was getting back from studio at that point. And he was like, you need to come over to mine. I'm sending you a taxi. And I was like, absolutely not. I was not in London and in a Holiday Inn. And he sent the taxi to the Holiday Inn, which obviously I did not get into. And then he basically was like, you're the worst person in the world. I was like, okay. So actually, yeah, that's a bloke unhingedness. I also had someone very kindly donate this story, which I think is fabulous. She tells it better than I do, but I'm going to try my best. So my mate was, it was sort of back when she was studying and was young and looking for love, and she was seeing this guy that she'd met on Tinder who she was very much into. She couldn't really get a gauge on if he was into her, but it kind of felt like it was going well. But he was, I guess what we would call it now, is like breadcrumbing. So he would show a little bit of interest and then kind of leave her hanging, show a little bit of interest, leave her hanging. So she, for Valentine's Day was coming up, and she knew that he ran his own business. So, and I think he started it with his mate. Anyway, she looked up his business on Company's House, which I do think is amazing, and sent him a Valentine's card, like using the address that she'd found of his, which is his home address. And she was with her other group of friends once she'd sent the Valentine's card saying, oh, like, I've done this and he's going to love it. He's going to think it's cute. And all of them were like, that is wild. That's nuts. Like, he is never, ever going to return that. Because she thought if I send him one, he'll send me one. And obviously he got it. She said at that point she realised what she had done, but the card had already gone. And suffice it to say, the card was never mentioned, and it fizzled out, sadly. And then that got me thinking about, I very much think I was someone always often trying to like hold on to things. So I was seeing a guy, and again, I do think now the words we would use is love bomb. Like, he very much was into me for quite a long time and I wasn't, blah, blah, blah. And then like a light switch, I was like, oh my God, I'm so into him. I'm so in love with him. We're going to get married and have babies. And praise be, because obviously so pleased I'm now married to Adam. And yeah, so he was really into me. And then when I was in a relationship, and then when I came out of the relationship, he, I now know, sort of took a step back. I didn't realise. And I actually think maybe I bumped into the ex that I'd split up with, and I was really upset. And this guy sort of lived in my area, and he was working, I think, as a chef for like quite a high-end members club. And I was trying to ring him to be like, oh my God, like, my ex is such a dick. Like, I just really need a shoulder to cry on. And normally when I was with the person, he was very wanting to be interested. And then I guess since I became single, he wasn't. And so rather than just leaving it and going, okay, I'll just chat to him tomorrow when I'm sober and he's not working. And obviously, like with chefs, they don't have their phones on them all the time and they're very, very busy. And this was a private members club. And so I rang the reception, asked for him by name, said that he was the chef and that there was an emergency. And I was like, you need to tell him there's an emergency and to come to the phone. So obviously they did, because they thought it was a family emergency. And then I was just on the phone like, oh, I'm so sad. Can I see you? Not okay. Not okay. That actually does still keep me up at night, because we were like, it's one thing being like that with a partner who kind of knows you, but this, we hadn't even been seeing each other. I just knew he liked me. I also had a guy that I was seeing, and he worked at the time at the gym I went to. And he very much, we were sort of on again, off again, on again, off again. And he very much was like, I'm not interested. I probably told you 7 times I'm not interested, but you're still not picking up on it. And so I was like, I can't believe you've led me on like all this time, da 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 da. And so what I would do is, rather than on the app where you can very easily and very seamlessly book your exercise classes, I would call the reception. Why do I love calling reception? I would call the reception and be like, oh, my app's not working. Like, when I knew he was working, I'd be like, my app's not working. Can you book me in? He'd be like, yeah, okay. And obviously didn't care, but I was like, he's going to hear my voice and then remember to love me. And obviously that didn't work. And then I'd get pissed off. And yeah, so that was pretty bad. And then also, oh my God, I actually remembered this when I was driving home earlier. So I, again, was seeing a guy, and we decided to part ways. Not my choice. And obviously, as you do, delete them on everything, block them on everything. And I had been on a night out, and I'd been out like where we used to go out a lot, and it obviously got me thinking about him and whatever. And so I didn't have his number. I didn't have him on socials. I blocked him on everything. Pretty sure I was blocked as well. So I tried guessing his email address. Like first name, last name at Hotmail, first name, last name at Gmail. And I BCC'd them all in on one thing. Like first name dot last name, first initial last name, like every combination I could think of. And obviously it never made it to him. Thank God, actually. Praise be. So that was pretty needy. And obviously, and I'm sure we've all been victim to this, is I was going on a couple of dates with this guy, and again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. He was so not into me, and I was working late, and he wasn't really that bothered about meeting up, and he was like, you know what, let's just do it another time. And I kind of felt like that, that was it. And so I screenshot his message to send to my sister to be like, he's so not into me, something like FML, whatever. And I sent it to him, and he never replied. I like to think that him not replying was him just giving me grace rather than him being like, she is absolutely wild. I've actually been talking for quite a long time, and I still have quite a few more, so I might have to make this into like a two-parter, because I'm conscious of everybody's time. But if you have or are doing these things, I hear you, I'm with you. And I also want to say, it does go both ways, right? So it's not just every woman who is psycho, blah, blah, blah. A couple of things I'm going to caveat with this is these feelings were very much because I was made to feel like they were into me to start with. So very keen, loads of messages, and then they're not. Okay, so I was a little bit like, whoa, what's happened? Broke my neck at the speed of change. And also, I have also had men do quite unhinged things with me. Although, actually, it is them breaking up with me. But anyway, so I had a guy who, to be fair, I knew it wasn't going to work because we went on a first date and I laughed. He's quite a quiet spoken man. And I laughed and it made him jump and he dropped his Guinness down him. And I thought, bro. And anyway, we were sort of texting back and forth. I think he kind of decided he wasn't into me and I was sort of not really feeling it. Although obviously he was desperately trying to make it work because I was so desperate to love and be loved. And this was before Taylor Swift was as astronomical as she is now. However, I will say this was still very much a big dream of his. He broke up with me because he fully wanted to dedicate time to try and go out with Taylor Swift. And spoiler alert, it wasn't Travis Kelce I was going out with. Okay. And nor was it that matey from the 1975. So yeah, that was fun. But I couldn't really hate him for that because God loves a trier. Another guy we actually had been seeing each other for quite a while. He's quite a bit older than me. And I don't know if you girls have done this before where you go out with guys either your age or like a few years younger, whatever, and it's not working. So you think, fuck it, I'm going to go out with someone older. So I think I was like 24 and he would have been, little bark there. He would have been sort of 40, maybe. He's quite a bit older. And I was like, he's got his shit together. Like I just felt like he was somebody who would have his shit together and great. And it was all going really, really well. And I met his friends. I actually met a few of his friends. He'd met my sister. Like it was going pretty well. And then I met another group of his mates who obviously found me very funny. And you could just feel it when someone started to check out, right? He just totally pulled back and I was like, what have I even done? I thought I was a fucking delight. And he essentially said to me that he has to be the funny one in a relationship and all his friends found me funny. I mean, I'll take it. Like, if I'm going to get broken up with, that's how I want to be broken up with. Do you know what I mean? You're too funny. Great. Fantastic. Love it. So yeah, and then I also received, actually on the theme of the sending and receiving cards. So anonymous person who submitted this, I actually don't think you're as on your own as you think you are. I was seeing somebody, but it was very casual, and they for Valentine's Day sent me a card that, I mean, it was actually very sweet because they knew that my favorite film is Austin Powers, and they had sent me a card with their face superimposed on Austin Powers. And it said, Happy Valentine's Day from the guy that shags you, instead of the spy who shagged me, number 2, Austin Powers, which was entertaining, but not needed or necessary. So yeah, anyway, I have been chatting a lot. Like I say, I actually have quite a few more. So I think I might have to make this a second part. Very, very glad I haven't drank because this is already churning some bits up for me, actually. So yeah, and if you're going to go out this weekend and make good, bad, ugly choices, just know you're not alone. Mwah, mwah. Love ya.